Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard. Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of the Dr. Glidden Show, a.k.a. Fire Your MD Now. Did you have a good weekend? Well, I hope that you did. I wish that you did. I pray that you did. However, 4,274 people did not. Approximately 4,274 people over the course of this weekend died as a direct result of MD-directed therapeutics. That's MD-directed therapeutics, the leading cause of death in the United States. 780,000 people a year killed dead by MD-directed therapeutics delivered by a medical organization which is self-policing and which virtually answers to nobody but themselves. Collateral damage, that's just the way that it goes. That's just the practice of medicine, is the mantra that we get from the people who bankrupt us, the people who disappoint us, the people who infect us, the people who harm us, and then ultimately the people who kill us. And, what the heck? Where is it going to end? Where is the bottom line? What's the deal going to be here? Well, I don't know what's going to happen. But I tell you what we desperately need. We need a free medical market. We don't have a free medical market. You are screwed in Canada. If you're listening in Canada, you don't have a choice. Socialized medicine. The government takes money out of your paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whenever it is, and gives it to the medical system. Until this year in the United States, we could have medical insurance or not. Didn't matter. It was, by choice. Now we have to have medical insurance. The only difference between the U.S. and Canada is we get to choose which insurance companies and which policies we want to cover us. But the medical insurance here in the U.S., the medical insurance in Canada, the medical insurance in the European Union doesn't cover homeopathy, doesn't cover chiropractic, doesn't cover naturopathy, or if it does, in a very limited way. Doesn't cover acupuncture, doesn't cover Ayurveda, doesn't cover herbal medicine, doesn't cover anything but MD-directed medical therapeutics all of the time. The leading cause of death in the United States. MD-directed medical therapeutics. And, 4,274 people presumptively dead over the course of this weekend. And nobody bats a flipping eyelash because we have become inured to the process. We have become hypnotized to believe that the MD way is the only way, and even when their therapeutics fail us, even when their therapeutics bankrupt us, and even when their therapeutics kill us, we don't do anything. Right? A kid goes crazy in a high school here in the U.S. and kills 2 or 3 or 200 of their classmates, and, it's all over the news all of the time. But 4,274 people die, and nobody bats an eyelash. Can you imagine what would happen? To put this in a better perspective, a better frame for people to figure this out and kind of get approaches on where we're coming from here, where I'm coming from here. If taxi cab drivers in New York City, if taxi cab drivers in L.A., if taxi cab drivers in Chicago, or Phoenix, or Atlanta, or Miami killed 4,000 people over the course of the weekend, if there were 4,000 deaths directly attributed to, drunken taxi cab drivers anywhere in the United States, would there be a congressional hearing? You bet. Would there be a police investigation? You bet. Would heads roll? You bet they would. How about postal workers? If postal workers went postal and, went into their town, went into their zip code, and just started machine gunning people down indiscriminately, 4,000 people over the course of the weekend, do you think something would be done? Would that be national news? Would somebody take offense to that? Would heads roll? You bet they would. How about 5th grade teachers? If all of a sudden 5th grade teachers went bananas and started poisoning everybody in their class, over the course of 2 days, a Friday and a Saturday, in one town, or, in let's say all across the United States, the 5th grade teachers got together and they deliberately poisoned 4,274 of their students, would there be an investigation? Would there be police action? And would heads roll? You bet they would. But not when the MDs do it. Why? Because the MDs own the show. It's good to be king. They're a self-policing organization, and they have convinced you over the course of 100 years that it is their way or the highway, that they are the exclusive owners to the domain of medicine, and everybody else practices not real medicine but alternative medicine. Everybody else is a back-of-the-bus quack with some type of substandard, unscientific medical theology. It's nonsense. The only people practicing selling snake oil in this country have MD after their name. That's right. I said it out loud. Snake oil brought to you by MDs. Vioxx, supposed to do one thing, does something else and kills you, and is extremely expensive. That's the very definition of snake oil. Vioxx. There's probably 100 prescription medicines that fit that category. They're marketed to do one thing, they do something else entirely, and into the bargain they harm or they kill you. That's snake oil by definition. But, I don't know where or when it started. Well, I think that it started after World War, right around between World War I and World War II, when the pharmaceutical industry started controlling everything. Medicine became the exclusive domain of the MDs, and how we ever gave them that control is beyond me. Why we did that is beyond me. Dr. Benjamin Rush, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, said this. He wanted to put medical freedom into the Bill of Rights, into the Constitution. Dr. Benjamin Rush, over 200 years ago, said, unless we put medical freedom into the Constitution, the time will come when medicine will organize itself into a dictatorship to restrict the art of healing to one class of men and deny equal privileges to others, will constitute the Bastille of medical science. All such laws and notions are un-American and despotic, and that's exactly where we are today. Most people don't even know how to pronounce naturopathy, let alone know what it is. And so when people are sick, they're scared. Rightly so. So what do? They run to the MD. Why? Because they're the only show in town. They're the only medicine that's practiced in your hospital is MD medicine. There's none of that fancy schmancy naturopathy stuff practiced there. Oh, no. We can't have the good stuff. My profession is only legally allowed, members of my profession are only legally allowed to ply their trade in 18 states in the United States. I went to the University of Massachusetts, graduated from the fully accredited University of Massachusetts in their pre-med program, fully accredited Bachelor of Science in pre-med. And then I went to matriculated at Bastyr University of Naturopathic Medicine, fully accredited medical school in the United States, sanctioned by the United States Department of Education. And students in the naturopathic medical schools are eligible for student loans through the federal government, subsidized by the federal government, fully accredited. I passed with flying colors in 4 years, passed national boards, passed state boards, and I've had a license to practice naturopathic medicine since 1992. In Seattle, in Los Angeles, in Portland, Oregon, in Juneau, Alaska, I can deliver babies, prescribe drugs, perform minor surgery, order any diagnostic tests I want, work in hospitals, call myself a physician, but in Illinois, not so much. In Kansas, not so much. In North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, not so much. Massachusetts, my home state, Rhode Island, not so much. New York State, not so much. Across the board, there are only 18 states in the United States, including, believe it or not, Puerto Rico. Now, Puerto Rico is one of the 18. Where members of my profession are legally allowed to practice medicine. I guess that the laws of medicine, the laws of science, the laws of education all stop when you cross the border into New York or Massachusetts, right? I guess they just stop. You would not put up with this type of baloney from any other industry if the United States government passed a law which said the only person that can sell hamburgers in your state was McDonald's. There would be an outrage. If they passed a law, the only people that can sell gasoline in your state is Exxon, there'd be outrage. If they said the only people that can sell vegetables in your state, is Kroger's or whatever the biggest national supermarket chain was, there would be outrage. Oh, no. The only person that can sell shoes in your state is Keds. Nobody else gets to sell shoes. Just Keds. That's it. You wouldn't put up with that, nor should you. That's exactly what you've put up with when it comes to medicine. But it is such an overarching phenomenon, and it has been in place for so long. It is right in front of your eyes, and you do not see it. It's like the purloined letter, right? The best place to hide it is in plain sight. Well, that's exactly the situation that we are in, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to hell in a handbasket. While we've given the MDs exclusive control over the domain and the delivery of medicine, Alzheimer's has accelerated, autism has accelerated, attention deficit disorder has accelerated, depression has accelerated, suicidal ideation amongst our veterans has accelerated. All chronic diseases have accelerated. Obesity now is 1/3 of the nation is obese, and that includes our children. And there's one reason for this. There is a reason that all this is happening. It's because we go to the MDs to treat these things, and the MDs are incapable of treating these things. They're incapable of it. They don't know how to do it. They're not trained in how to cure disease. They're not. They're trained in how to manage disease and with drugs and surgery, and that's what they do. They manage and they manage and they manage and they manage. They paint over the mold. They paint over the mold. They paint over the mold. They paint over the mold, and then everybody worries why the wall of the house falls down. Well, I thought you fixed that problem. No, you didn't. You just painted over it. I thought you fixed the arthritis. No, you didn't. You just medicated it. I thought you fixed the blood pressure. No, you didn't. You just medicated it. I thought you fixed the heartburn. No, you didn't. You just medicated it. I thought you fixed the obesity. No, you didn't. You just removed the stomach. And so forth and so on. Down the rabbit hole we go, spiraling into our doom, damnation, and degradation. All because we've taken the wrong dog to the hunt. Ladies and gentlemen, fire your medical doctor. They may be the nicest person God ever created, but they don't know what's best for you. They only know what they've been trained in. And what they've been trained in is the leading cause of death. Snap out of it. Give me a call instead. Stick around. The best is yet to come. We have a question from somebody in the chat room here. I just want to go over this with you because it's pertinent and it kind of outlines what I've been talking about. By the way, to get into the live chat, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening and you'd like to join in a worldwide live chat, it's free. Just go to the drgliddinshow.tv, the drgliddinshow.tv. Join the worldwide live chat. Mike from Florida says, hey, Doc, a fellow pool player in his mid-60s has bad shaking in his right hand. His doctor said it's essential tremors with no cure in sight. What causes this, and will he have to live with it? Well, this is interesting, right? Because, of course, the MDs would say that there's no cure for it because, as I was talking about in the first segment, the MDs don't know how to cure anything. I mean, people hear essential tremors and everybody gets all nervous. Oh, it's a neurological thing. Oh, that's complicated. Well, I'm not surprised the MD doesn't know how to cure it. Oh, yeah. But, you know, if it was heartburn, would the MD know what causes it? No. Does the MD know how to cure it? No. If it's arthritis, does the MD know what causes it? No. Does the MD know what cures it? No. If it's obesity, does the MD know what causes it? No. Does the MD know how to cure it? No. If it's insomnia or depression or anxiety and panic attacks or type 2 diabetes, does the MD know what causes it or know how to cure it? No. And these are the people that the government is making it mandatory for us to gain access to. That the MD emperor has no clothes, ladies and gentlemen. He has no clothes. They're the wrong person for the job. This is the problem with healthcare. We need to relegate the MDs to trauma care and surgery when it's absolutely necessary, and we need to put the naturopaths in the driver's seat of general family practice in all of the country. We need to subsidize the education of naturopathic physicians. We need to make naturopathic medicine legally practiced in all 50 states. We need to give the naturopathic organization half of the research money that we give to everybody else. We need to have a free, level playing field of medicine here in the United States. And if we do not, we will get more of the same. And this has nothing to do with insurance manipulation of the game. This has nothing to do with governmental subsidization of the medical marketplace. It has nothing to do with it. Because the MD medical therapeutic does not work. It does not work. It's a fool's errand. For goodness sake, we wouldn't go to a chiropractor or a massage therapist for open heart surgery, would we? You wouldn't go to a chiropractor for a root canal, would you? No. Well, nor should you go to an MD if you are suffering with a chronic health condition. And if you do go to an MD and you're suffering with a chronic health condition, you're setting yourself up for failure. You are. It's only a matter of time. So, when somebody is bothered with a neurological condition, do we treat the neurological condition? Do we treat the diagnosis? No, because there's no such thing as an essential tremor. There's no such thing as asthma. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. You can't bring me a box of essential tremors. You can't bring me a box of asthma. You can't bring me a box of congestive heart failure. You can bring me a box of apples or pencils or pens or elastic bands. Those are real things. Pathological conditions are names. They are intangible names given to sets of symptoms showing up in living and breathing human beings. And everybody's situation is different. So we don't treat disease. We help people. There's a gigantic difference because diseases are not real. People are. So what do? If somebody has essential tremors, we support and promote the structure and function of the nervous system. That's not rocket science, right? Why doesn't your MD do it? Because your MD has his head so far up his backside, he can't even see daylight. So, 1 Healthy Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 2 bottles of selenium, 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Add to that 1 bottle of immortalium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 1 bottle of EFA's 180, 1 extra bottle of EFA 180. Eliminate the 10 bad foods, eat a diet high in cholesterol. Have him do that for 6 months and see what happens to the essential tremors. All we have to do is stop eating food that's gumming up the work, give the body the stuff it needs to fix itself, keep our fingers crossed, and see how far back the body bounces. But before we do any of that, we must stop listening to the dunce. Stop listening to the MD with the dunce cap on, because if you listen to them, you're going to die, sucker. But before you die, you're going to suffer, and then you're going to die. Fire your medical doctor now. Let's go to Arizona and talk to Marilyn. Hey, Marilyn, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I spoke to you a few weeks back about my Coumadin level going down weekly.
Oh, yeah.
I keep having to increase mine. And I started on Youngevity on September 10th. And it's just every week I have to increase my blood thinner. And
every week you have to increase your Coumadin?
Right.
Well, then there's only one possibility. You're not absorbing efficiently what you're taking. Do you still have your gallbladder?
No. I mean, yes, I do. I do have my gallbladder.
All right, so you have your gallbladder. Has anything else been removed by the MDs?
Just about everything.
Yeah.
Everything else. But my question is the BTT. I have to limit my vitamin K and green vegetables when I'm on Coumadin. And I'm guessing that's maybe what's making it too thick.
No. You don't have thick blood because you have a Coumadin deficiency. You have thick blood because you have an essential fatty acid deficiency. So, and Dr. Wallach sued the Food and Drug Administration, sued him, cost $1 million, more or less. Brought mountains of evidence and put it on the desk of the FDA, and all of the evidence clearly shows that in order for your blood to be a healthy viscosity, you need essential fatty acids. I mean, that's what you need. You need essential fatty acid supplementation into your body. So if your blood is too thick, then you're deficient in essential fatty acids. And if you're taking essential fatty acids sufficient to the cause, sufficient to your body weight, and your blood continues to become thick, you're just not absorbing them.
Well, so my EFAs, you have me on 3 times a day. So
yeah, that's 12 a day. Yeah, and how much do you weigh?
Right, about 140.
Okay, and you're not eating wheat, barley, rye, or oats, right?
Oh my God, no. The only thing I can think of, I'm also sensitive to the 4 things in the BTT, and cranberry, banana, mushrooms, and pineapple. And that's in there, so I'm not sure. I would say the BTT is what is causing this. But that's why I wanted to check with you.
Well, yeah, it's a good thing you checked with me because the BTT is not causing this. It is impossible
That's right.
for the Beyond Tangy Tangerine to make somebody's blood thick or to interfere with Coumadin metabolism in such a way that it would disallow that from happening.
Really?
So,
It's got vitamin K in it, though, doesn't it, Doc?
well, yeah, but look, so here's the deal. You would expect, though, the vitamin K to make the Coumadin work better, not to make the Coumadin work worse. We would expect this to, I mean, what we see all of the time, and you're the exception that proves the rule, I guess, is that when people are on this program, their blood gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and the problem is that they need to get off of the Coumadin relatively quickly rather than continue to stay on it. So there's a couple things that I would recommend you do by way of experimentation here, okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I would get the ultimate enzymes.
Okay.
And I would take 2 of the ultimate enzymes at the beginning of a meal. And in that meal, I want you to take 5 EFAs.
During the meal.
Yeah. So I want you to take, so before breakfast, you pop 2 of the ultimate enzymes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have breakfast, and during breakfast, you have 5 of the EFAs.
Okay.
And then the same thing at lunch. You take the ultimate enzymes at the beginning of lunch, and during lunch, you have 5 EFAs, and then the same with dinner. The ultimate enzymes will help your body digest and metabolize the EFAs, and this really is the only problem, unless you are unwittingly sneaking gluten into the body every day and you don't know how to do it.
I can swear against that, Doc. I'm not doing that.
No way that's happening. Yeah. So this has to be a digestion issue and an absorption issue, and really the only way out of this off of this hamster wheel, right, is to give the body more time and also promote digestion of fats. And to promote digestion of fats, you need the bile that's in with the ultimate digestive enzyme. So I'm going to recommend that. That's one thing.
I'm taking ultimate enzymes, 1 before each meal.
Yeah, so I want you to do 2 before a meal. And I want you in that meal, during that meal, to swallow the EFAs.
Okay, 5.
Okay. There's one more thing I want you to do, please. I want you to get 1 bottle of Nightly Essence.
Nightly, what was that?
Nightly Essence.
Essence?
Yep, Essence. Yep, it's a probiotic that Youngevity sells, and it has nattokinase in it. And nattokinase also will help the blood to become thin. And I want you to take 2 Nightly Essence before you go to bed.
2 before bedtime. That was another thing. The last few weeks, last week, about 2 or 3 a.m., I start chilling from the inside and shaking. And so I don't know if this is, I keep saying, I quit the BT a couple days and I didn't have that. Now, is that just a coincidence?
Well, no, it's never a coincidence. The first thing to consider when anybody is on any type of a medical program, right? Whether it's a conventional medical program doled out by the pygmy-sized brain MDs, or whether it's a holistic program or whatever it is that you're doing, it doesn't matter. When you're on board with any type of a medical intervention and you get side effects, you haven't had those before.
No.
You get new symptoms that you've never had before. The first thing to consider is that something that you're taking is causing the side effect. And so then you have to beat around the bush and figure it out. So if you had that and you stopped the BTT and that went away, then it was the BTT that caused it. Mm-hmm. So your only workaround then, as a facsimile for the BTT, would be a Youngevity product called Ultimate Classic.
Ultimate Classic.
Now, I have to warn you, Marilyn, I'm telling you this because I like you.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
There's been a lot of talk around town in the chat room and on the radio and as such about the Ultimate Classic and how it tastes. I've always told people it's one of the most horrible tasting supplements that Youngevity has, and a lot of people in the chat room say, "Oh, it's not that bad." Well, guess what? It is. It's a bad tasting nutritional supplement, no matter how you slice it. So you have to find something that makes it taste good or you're only going to be able to handle taking that for maybe 2 weeks, and then you just won't be able to do it.
Okay.
So we had a guy on the webinar the other day on the live chat, which is available to members of my subscription service for, it's a part of the subscription. He gave us the inside scoop that the V8 Fusion, V8 makes a number of different iterations of, the V8 juice.
Right.
There's one V8 drink called V8 Fusion that has, I think, blueberry and pomegranate in it. And apparently, if you mix the V8 Fusion blueberry and pomegranate with the Ultimate Classic, it tastes pretty good.
Oh, really? Well, good.
Yeah, so get the Ultimate Classic instead of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. What's your body weight?
It's 140, but I really like the BTT, and that's
well,
why
look,
I'm calling.
I really like tequila, but too much of it is not my friend. Right?
Okay. Yeah, okay, you're right.
So now to kind of make you feel better, Marilyn, the reason that the Beyond Tangy Tangerine aggravates some people is because of a mild allergic reaction that they have to the fruits and vegetables that are in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a reaction to the minerals or the vitamins that are in there. It's a reaction to the proteins that are embedded in the 115 fruits and vegetables, or however many that are in there. Now, from our point of view, a food allergy of any ilk, whether it's an immediate hypersensitivity, like, the little boy eats the peanuts and his throat swells up, whether it's that, or a delayed hypersensitivity reaction like you're experiencing, both of those are generated from a funky digestive tract. So, ostensibly, over time, as you're, 2-3 years on this program, and you've eliminated the 10 bad foods, and you're taking the supplements every day, and you're improving, it's entirely possible that a year or two from now, you'll be able to go back to the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and without any side effects.
Okay.
Because your digestive tract will have healed itself. But in the meantime, we have to always, the goal here is to dial in a therapeutic intervention which is 100% symptom-free, right? So start, please, with 1 bottle of the Ultimate Classic a month. And I would do a half an ounce twice a day. A half an ounce twice a day of the Ultimate Classic.
Okay. All right.
Now, if you're good with that, then graduate to 2 bottles a month and take 1 ounce twice a day.
All right.
But in the meantime, do the digestive enzyme essential fatty acid thing with the nightly essence. See if that makes a difference for you, and give me a call back in a couple of weeks. I will look forward to it. Montana's up next, folks. On the other side of the break, it's Josh. We're going to go to Montana, one of my favorite states. Stick around. Montana's up next. Let's talk to Josh. Hey, Josh. Thanks for the call. You are live.
Good afternoon, Glenn.
What's up, Josh?
I was on your show 2 months ago, and I got a 5-month-old that is diagnosed with cystic fibrosis.
Oh, okay. So 5-month-old child that's diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. Okay.
He weighs 14 pounds.
Yep.
And I've been giving him half an ounce of plant-derived minerals slowly during the day.
Good man.
And a half capsule of EFA Plus a day.
Very good.
And I'm wondering if I should continue to do that.
Oh, yeah, you need to continue it. You need to give him selenium as well. Selenium.
Selenium?
Yeah, selenium's extremely important here. It would actually, selenium would supersede anything else. Selenium should be the first thing that you do. How much does the child weigh right now?
14 pounds.
Yeah, 14 pounds. So give him a half a capsule of the selenium twice a day. And the selenium, you can break the capsule open and put the powder in a little applesauce or yogurt or whatever, right? Give him a half a cap of selenium twice a day. A half a cap of selenium twice a day. I think that once you add the selenium into the program, you're going to see a turnaround. 14 pounds, man. How old is the child?
5 months.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. And I would do that for 4 weeks. 4 weeks, a half a cap of selenium twice a day. Is the child eating anything, or is he breastfeeding, or what's the deal?
He's bottle feed, but it's breast milk.
Yeah, okay. And is the mother eliminating the 10 bad foods?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty important because the proteins that are the negative culprits here will pass right through the breast milk into the baby's system if the mother is eating this stuff. And it would be prudent and good and smart for the mother to be taking one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, one bottle of plant minerals, and 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of her own body weight per month. That's one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 1 bottle of plant minerals, and 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds per month while she's breastfeeding. And then in addition to that, give the child the plant minerals and the selenium and the EFAs. That's what I would do if it were my child.
Could you repeat that again, what why you should take?
Yeah, so one plant, Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, one of those, 2 bottles of selenium, and 1 bottle of plant minerals, per 100 pounds of body weight per month while she's breastfeeding. Well, for the rest of her life. She needs it, I need it, you need it, everybody needs it. But it'll pass right through her breast milk and get into the baby's system that way, and that's a really good thing. And she has to avoid the 10 bad foods, man, and if she does, the baby's going to stand a much better chance of optimizing his structure and function. Selenium given to the child is mandatory here. A half a capsule twice a day is a very, very good place to start. Give me a call back in a month, Josh. I appreciate your trust. Ladies and gentlemen, hour 2 is coming up. We're going to go to Jim in Texas, Edmund in Chicago, Alan in Alberta, Canada, and whoever else wants to give the show a call. Tune into the live video stream, thedrgliddenshow.tv. I'll see you at 6 after the hour. Let's go to Jim in Texas. I wonder if he has spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle. Hey, Jim, thanks for the call. You are live.
No, I don't have any spurs, but I do have a question about EFAs.
Shoot.
I understand that the longevity EFAs are nitrogen sealed, and that's a very special process and makes our product very, very good. My question concerns the source. I understand that we use fish oil as the source for our EFAs. We hear a lot today about krill oil. So my question is, why do we not use krill oil, or is that just a good marketing message?
Well, that's a good question, right? And there's a lot of ways to answer that question, and I think this makes you the smartest man in Texas, quite frankly, because you've thought this stuff through. So, every year or so, I'm making numbers up. It might even be every 6 months, right? There's a new phenomenon that kind of sweeps through the world of holistic medicine. First it's ginkgo, and then it was echinacea, and then it was colloidal silver, and then it was colloidal gold, and now it's krill oil. And before that it was extra virgin olive oil, and then after that it was rhodiola. And then, right, there's all this stuff that kind of filters into the mainstream. And honestly, it's difficult to know. Even for people like me who do this for a living, it's hard to know where to separate the myth from the reality, because as it is in the pharmaceutical industry, right, most of the research that's done on, krill oil will be done by the companies that are promoting the krill oil. Or they'll pick and choose research from the public domain that supports the use of the krill oil or whatever. And so, honestly, what we need in this profession is, a full-time doctor to be able to just dedicate themselves to research and being able to separate the wheat from the chaff, because it's really hard to do, man. And this is why people like Mercola, Dr. Mercola, and I really don't like speaking ill of people who aren't here to defend themselves, but Dr. Mercola has done a lot of good because Dr. Mercola has developed such a following that he's kind of been able to shine a light on holistic medicine and bring many people in the world who'd had no idea what holistic medicine was kind of have an understanding. Oh, yeah, there's this thing. It's called holistic medicine. It's a legitimate thing, and that's a good thing. But on his website and the website of Dr. Oz and a number of other so-called holistic advocates, it's flavor of the month every month, right? You know, it's nascent iodine, and then it's krill oil, and then it's echinacea, and then it's who knows, right? Now, is krill oil a good thing? Yeah, krill oil's a good thing. Is echinacea a good thing? Yeah, man, echinacea's a good thing. But whether or not there's enough evidence to support switching from EFAs to krill oil, I don't know. But I will tell you this one thing that I do know. And it's entirely possible that it's better. It's entirely possible that that's true. But my point is, it's kind of hard to know. But in the meantime, right? I mean, in the meantime, we got to do something. And so, well, what do? Well, we thank God for Dr. Wallach. Because when it comes to essential fatty acid supplementation, Dr. Wallach sued the Food and Drug Administration, cost $1 million, you know, maybe a little more, in order to garner for Youngevity something called a qualified health claim, which allows us to say that essential fatty acid supplementation with, you know, just regular sardine oil or wherever Youngevity's comes from, eliminates the risk of a thrombotic stroke. And so there's been mountains, truckloads of published research. This is what you have to bring to the FDA to get a qualified health claim. It can't just be 10 research papers. It has to be thousands of research papers done by people all around the world who are unassociated with each other, unassociated with the food industry, the nutritional supplement industry, all of which say the same thing. There is so much research that supports the use of essential fatty acid supplementation from fish oil that it's not even funny. Now, I know that for a fact. And is krill oil better? I don't know. Time will tell. But in the meantime, I'm going to stick with Old Faithful, man, and lean on Dr. Wallach. And, you know, honestly, it's kind of like, you know, anything else. You start a new relationship and you're just agog over the person, and, you know, you think they're the greatest thing that God ever created. And then 10 years into marriage, it's like, whatever, you know, I mean, you know, kind of sometimes the interest dies away. And that's often what will happen with it. That didn't happen with me, by the way. My relationship is stronger than it's ever been. That's because I really got somebody just awesomely fantastic. I was blessed by that. But with Youngevity, what will happen a lot is that people get really excited about it and they're all over it, as they rightly should be when they first come in. But then kind of, you know, the glow fades, and people, it's easy to forget how spectacular an intellect Dr. Wallach brings to the table, especially because Wallach is one of the most unassuming people you'll ever meet. I mean, he looks like a truck driver, right? He doesn't look like a physician who should have been nominated for the Nobel Prize. He should have been. But honestly, and I can say this with 100% veracity, and I'm not blowing smoke, and I am not exaggerating. In 25 years of clinical experience, it is my opinion, based on too much exposure and too many results to argue against, that when it comes to medical nutrition, if you have a choice to believe Dr. Wallach or anybody else, believe Dr. Wallach. Because no kidding, man, he's the man. And, you know, it might be that krill oil is better. If it is, then once that research has been established and is grounded in fact, not fancy, Youngevity will sell it. Because that's what the company does. We evolve, right? But in the meantime, I'm going with Old Faithful EFA Plus, man. And you should too.
Sounds good. That's a great answer.
Thank
you very much. It sure does.
Yeah, well, look, I talk too much, Jim, you know, and I tend to go on rants like this. So what do you think? I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, I think it makes perfect sense to me. I didn't realize that there wasn't that much research about krill oil. I didn't know that, which is why I called you. I do, though, wish you would explain to everybody, because I think it's really important, why is the nitrogen seal important?
Oh, I know. Yeah, that does need to be iterated more. And there's a couple things at the company. Like, for instance, their liquid calcium. There's a process that they do, and it's kind of like, Coca-Cola has a secret recipe that like one person knows about, right? Well, Youngevity, there's a process that they apply to their calcium supplement, their liquid calciums, which make them over 95% bioavailable. And most people have no idea that they do that. And, an over-the-counter calcium supplement, or even a high-quality calcium supplement that you can get from a licensed physician, at best is about 15% bioavailable, at best. Youngevity's 90%. I mean, there's a gigantic difference, and it's the same with the fish oil. They pack it in a nitrogen capsule so that it doesn't oxidize and no free radicals are generated until you swallow it. And so there are a lot of things like this that I think Youngevity should do a better job at verbalizing, because really, man, this stuff is like Ferrari. I mean, this stuff is like a Ferrari. It's the most effective nutritional supplement program I've ever seen. This is why I'm such a big cheerleader for them, by the way, because it works. I mean, I'm all about what works, right? But it's a point well taken, man. It's a point well taken.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Jim, call me anytime, man. I really appreciate anybody who has the wherewithal and to live in Texas, one of the best states in the United States, in my opinion. So from Texas to Chicago, let's see what Edmund is up to. Hey, Edmund, thanks for calling, man. What's going on?
I've been dealing with, dizziness and lightheadedness for about 10 years. I've seen neurologists, that tell you have vertigo, do these exercises, blah, blah, blah. Well, none of that worked. Then I did further testing, coming to find out I have allergies to every single food out there.
Yeah.
So, since I stopped eating those foods that I was so-called allergic to, I went from 300 to 230, but I still have issues.
So you lost 70 pounds just by cleaning up your diet.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
No gluten, no grains, no dairy. But the thing is, I know how Dr. Wallach's always promoting eggs, but I have an allergy to egg yolk and egg whites, beef, lamb.
Me too. I have an allergy to eggs. Can't eat them. It's a bummer.
So I'm trying to figure out a solution, man, because, I feel like I'm losing out on life. I have 2 kids. I don't like to go outside really much because I can get a, dizzy spell anytime, wherever I'm at.
Okay, so, I'm glad that you called, right? And interestingly enough, we're running out of time here in this segment, but when we come up against the commercial break, you stick with me and I'll bring you right back, and then I'll answer this question. But as we roll up to the commercial, here's what I want you to think about, what I want everybody in the listening audience to think about. Yeah. You've been dealing with this stuff for 10 years, man. For 10 years, probably longer. Yeah. And the MDs have let you down, and they've 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 let you down. Now, if everybody, and you kind of feel like you're the odd man out, or, maybe I have a bad gene, who knows, right? Because that's how they make you feel. But I swear to God, Edmund, if everybody in this country who had been let down hard by the MDs, like you've been let down, wrote a letter to the president or the Surgeon General or somebody at the New York Times to do an op-ed about this, there would be millions and millions and millions of letters flooding in, because this is not the exception, it's the rule. People are let down by the MDs all of the freaking time. And if we all stood up as a group and shouted this, maybe somebody would listen. Stick around. Let's go to Edmund in Chicago and finish it up. Hey, Edmund, are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So, interestingly enough, there's a type of dizziness which is referred to as Wallach's vertigo. It's actually named in the diagnostic books after Dr. Joel Wallach, the founder of Youngevity. Dr. Wallach knows more about the pathogenesis of vertigo than dizziness than anybody else. So, the first thing to consider when somebody has heartburn is that their stomach acid is too weak. The first thing to consider when somebody has high blood pressure is they don't have enough calcium and magnesium in their blood. The first thing to consider when somebody is dealing with vertigo and dizziness is chronically, is that they have a condition called osteoporosis of the skull, which sounds a lot worse than it is. But there are nerves that go to your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat directly from the brain. And to get to the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat, they have to go through tunnels in the brain. And those tunnels are called lacunae because, remember, the medical doctor is so full of himself, they just couldn't call it a tunnel in the brain. They had to call it something fancy schmancy. So there's a tunnel in the brain that, or in the skull, that the nerve from the brain goes to, in this case, to get to your inner ear. And it's your inner ear which regulates your balance and your sense of position in the world. Now, when your inner ear is messed up, your balance is going to be messed up. So when that little nerve goes through the tunnel in the skull on its way to your inner ear to help with your balance, if that tunnel starts to collapse, the body knows that that's not good, and so the body will put connective tissue inside the tunnel to keep it from collapsing all the way. Because if that tunnel collapses, then the other ones are going to collapse, because the only reason they do collapse is because of structural, it's a structural integrity thing. It's kind of like if, when the bridges start to corrode and they start to rust and they start to bend and the concrete starts falling off, it's just because they haven't been maintained properly. Well, when your skull bone doesn't have enough nutrition, the body will put connective tissue inside the tunnels, and if it's the tunnel that the nerve that goes to your inner ear is in, when that connective tissue rubs up against the nerve, it creates dizziness. If it's the nerve that goes to your eardrum, if it rubs up against it, you get ringing in the ears. If it's the nerve that goes to your eye muscles, you get a lazy eye. If it's the nerve that goes to your voice box, your vocal cords, you get chronic voice trouble, hoarseness, laryngitis, and so forth and so on. So this is the first, second, and third thing to think about here is this is osteoporosis of the skull. What causes osteoporosis of the skull? Well, your skull bone has run out of the nutrients it needs to maintain its integrity. And you're probably unwittingly, used to be, maybe still are, eating food that's hurting the skull bone health. And guaranteed, if the skull bone is this bad off, then there's some other type of arthritic problem going on someplace else in the body. So do you have low back pain or knee pain or shoulder pain or any type of joint pain of a chronic nature anywhere else in your body?
I had a double knee surgery, so I do have a little bit of pain in my right knee, and then my right lower back, and then my right shoulder as well.
Yeah, okay, so that's all nails in the coffin that this is chronic undiagnosed because your medical doctor, I swear to God, they have if we did an MRI on 100 medical doctors, 99 of them would have brains the size of a freaking lentil bean. It's amazing to me that they were even able to pass medical school, for goodness sake. So here's what you need to do, please.
For you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what to do. Yeah, go ahead.
When I notice the dizziness come is like just before I have a bowel movement.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Is there a connection? Or
yeah, there's a connection. It's because you're bearing down, and everything in the body is connected, and there's like your body is it's like kind of it's like a garden hose, man. And when you squeeze on the garden hose on one end of it, the water's going to come out faster on the other end. Or if you squeeze it too hard, it's going to back up behind it. And so when you're bearing down to have a bowel movement, it's going to increase intracranial pressure, and that's going to rub on the nerve more, and that's why it's going to increase. I mean, it's pretty straightforward to me. Why
even
more?
Before that, I'm saying. Like even before I even
well, all right, so stick around.
All
right, stick around. We're up against the hard break. I appreciate you. Let's finish up with Edmund in Chicago and help him to be not dizzy. So it's interesting, don't you think, Edmund, that there are a number of weird little signs and symptoms that can happen to people, and the MDs are completely clueless about it. Well, why does my vertigo increase right before I have a bowel movement? Well, it's a gosh darn good question. You think that the people who hold themselves out to be the gatekeepers of all medical knowledge in the world and the go-to people for all things medical would know that. But when they don't know something, they make you feel like an idiot rather than taking the responsibility. Yeah, it's in your head. You're a psych case, right? that's the other thing. No. Yeah, you're a psych case. And so they'll write in your chart, difficult patient. And, really, honestly, I have a deep appreciation and understanding for something called karma, which is the fundamental belief on the physical plane of existence that what goes around comes around. And the only thing that keeps me from taking aggressive action here against the MDs is my understanding that it all comes around and they will get theirs in the end. It's the only thing that keeps me from, becoming a militant like Malcolm X. No kidding.
Let me ask this. My self-diagnosis of leaky gut for myself is not the answer. It's not.
Well, it's related, right? Because leaky gut means that your intestinal tract is not absorbing nutrients efficiently.
Yeah.
So what does your skull bone need to have proper health? Nutrients. And can your body make nutrients out of pixie dust and fairy magic? No, it needs nutrients. So if you have a leaky gut, even if you were eating a perfectly balanced meal with all the stuff that your body needed, which, by the way, doesn't exist anywhere on the planet, it's impossible to give your body everything it needs just from eating food. You can't do it. But even if you were to go to utopia and eat the perfect food, if you have a leaky gut, you're not going to be absorbing everything, and so you're going to be SOL. So the leaky gut is in play here, but really the cause of the leaky gut is nutrient deficiencies and consistent consumption of all the bad food. And the cause of the osteoporosis of the skull is nutrient deficiencies and the consistent consumption of all bad food. So these are like two arms of the same octopus, right? And, of course, the worse the leaky gut gets, the worse everything's going to get. And so then we're sliding down the slippery razor slope, and then we're going to die. So how much do you weigh, man?
I'm down about 230 right now. I'm about 5'10".
Okay, by the way, that's the worst time to see the Chinese dentist. 2:30. Oh, it's a bad time. Okay, so here's what I'm going to recommend you do to support and promote healthy skull bone health. And I'm going to recommend you do this for 90 days in a row before you judge it up or down. And inside of 90 days, we expect something noticeable, measurable, strongly positive to happen. Okay?
All
right. Here it is. You need 2 per month. 2 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. So it's a ponderously long name. Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid.
Okay.
You need 2 of those. You need 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals. 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals. And 3 bottles. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count. 3 bottles of glucogel capsules at the 240 count. Okay. That's all I want you to do for 90 days. Oh, well, plus, you're probably already there already because you know you have leaky gut, and, it sounds to me like you're ahead of the game. But you need to stop eating the 10 bad foods, 4 of which are wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Okay?
I've gone through that list. The only thing I still eat, to be honest, is the coconut oil. I don't know. I know it's kind of hard. But.
Well, you're going to die, so stop it. So the coconut oil will oxidize, and it's only a matter of time until it oxidizes. And if you swallow anything that has oxidized and it's an oil, you're going to deliver free radicals to the body in massive quantities, which will accelerate inflammation in the body. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire in the backyard. It's going to get worse. So stop it, man. Trust me, it's only 3 months, 90 days. Now, coconut oil has good stuff in it, but there's stuff in it that's bad, and the net negative effects of coconut oil, we believe, are not worth it. However, if you follow my advice, all of the good stuff that you will have gotten from the coconut oil, you'll be getting in the essential fatty acid supplement without any of the bad side effects. So when you follow my advice, the coconut oil will become irrelevant. I mean, no kidding. So that's what you want to do, man, for 90 days, every day. How'd you hear about me, by the way, Edmund?
Be honest, I'm doing my own research, and I've kind of lost faith in doctors. I'm doing my own thing, trying to solve my own problems.
Well, you just found me on the internet all by your lonesome?
I probably YouTube probably linked with you, or Or like,
All right, so I want you to give.
Ben Puke?
All right, so give this number a call, okay? If you came to me all by your lonesome, and have you bought a longevity supplement yet?
No.
All right, so call this number, please. And you got to just trust me again on this, because if you go to the internet and try to just buy a longevity supplement without the proper guidance, you're going to get ripped off. So you need to get the stuff at the wholesale price. You need to get products that are fresh, that haven't been sitting in somebody's garage for a year and a half. So 855-347-3696. That's 855-347-3696. And then hit extension 2. Extension 1. I'm sorry, extension 1.
Okay.
And somebody on my team will answer the call, and they'll tell you how to get the stuff at the wholesale price. They'll tell you how to take it. They'll just do the whole thing for you free of charge, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. All right?
All right.
All right. Good luck. Call me back in about 4 weeks for the report. I'm expecting big things from you. And I mean it. I appreciate the trust and the phone call. Alberta, Canada is up next. Alan's calling with a question about gout. Ouch. It hurts me to just say it, Alan. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden. Yes, I'm suffering from gout, and I'm also having pretty severe leg cramps in the morning when I get up.
Yeah. How long has this been going on, man?
The gout for maybe a year, but the leg cramps maybe for a couple of months.
Yeah, you and my second cousin, 7 times removed, Benjamin Franklin, both gout sufferers, so you're in good company anyway. Have you taken any longevity stuff at all?
Yes, I'm taking the plant-derived minerals, and I'm also taking the liquid calcium, and taking selenium and EFA also.
Well, okay, good. So how much of the liquid calcium are you taking?
I was taking about 1 or 2 tablespoons before bed.
Okay, and how much do you weigh?
212.
Okay, so here's what I'd like you to do as an experiment for 7 days.
Okay.
To see if it gives you a leg up, pun intended, on the cramping, okay?
Right.
All right. 1 ounce, you got to measure it out because it's tricky. 1 ounce, I want you to measure it out. 1 ounce of the liquid calcium. Is it the powdered calcium or the liquid?
Liquid.
Okay, good man. So I want you to do, as an experiment for 7 days, 1 ounce of the liquid calcium in 2 ounces of orange juice or pineapple juice or orange pineapple banana or orange pineapple strawberry or some type of citrus juice. I don't care. Lemon juice, whatever. 1 ounce of the calcium in 2 ounces of citrus juice 4 times a day. Spread them out. I want the first dose to be first thing in the morning when you roll out of bed, and I want the last dose to be immediately before you go to bed.
Okay.
Okay. Now, have you tried the black cherry juice gout fix?
Yes, I've got capsules for that, and it doesn't seem to do very much.
Okay, so what part of your body is the gouty inflammation in? What does it look like, and what does it feel like?
It's on my feet, just behind the toes.
All 10 toes?
1 foot or the other. And my foot gets very stiff and hard to bend.
Okay, how do you know it's gout?
MD.
Okay. Are you taking allopurinol?
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, it's a drug that MDs give to treat people who have gout.
I got something for when I first had it, and it got better in about 3 days.
And then that was a long time ago, and you never took it again, right?
That's right.
Okay. Are you familiar with the foods that contain purines?
Yes.
And so you have to eliminate those from your diet, especially while you're dealing with a gouty attack. And you've done that, and you understand that, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, when this happens to your foot, is it the right foot or the left foot?
Either or.
Right now, which one is it?
Left.
Okay, and when you look down at the toes, what does it look like? Does they look normal? Do they look red? Do they look pink, purple, black, blue? What do they look like?
They're not red. No.
So do they look abnormal at all?
I would say no.
Just looks like a normal foot. Is there any swelling that's visible or noticeable or not?
Yes, behind the toes.
All 5 toes or just behind the big toe?
All 5.
Okay. And what makes the gouty pain feel better? Does putting your feet in cold water make it feel good? Putting your feet in hot water make it feel good? What makes it feel good?
I suppose an ice pack, yeah.
Ice feels good?
Yes.
Okay. What makes it feel bad?
Walking, or when I have an attack, walking, or even putting your shoes on.
Yeah, walking around to putting any type of pressure on it whatsoever. Is it the type of a thing that you'll walk and, like the first 5 minutes it hurts like a son of a gun, but then you get used to it and it doesn't feel so bad?
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. And is there a time of the day when the gout in the foot is much worse than at any other time?
I don't think so. Maybe in the morning.
So does there any does weather come into play here at all?
I don't think so.
Okay, so weather doesn't have anything to do with it. You can't predict a rainstorm or thunder or nothing like that. And how frequently does the gout come, and how frequently does it go?
I could have an attack, I guess, maybe once or 2 weeks.
Okay.
But other than that, it's kind of just there.
Yeah, kind of in the background, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what we do here is we support and promote healthy liver function, and we support healthy liver function with selenium. And if I were you, I'd be taking 12 selenium a day. 12 selenium a day in addition to what you're already doing.
Okay.
And you need to eliminate all 10 of the bad foods that I talk about, because those will significantly interfere with the absorption of nutrients into your system and will impede the stuff that I recommend you take from working. Last but not least, I would get a homeopathic medicine called Ledum. It's L like Larry, E like Edward, D like David, U-M, Ledum, L-E-D-U-M, homeopathic Ledum. Take 2 pellets 5 times a day for 3 days. 2 pellets orally 5 times a day for 3 days. See if that makes a difference. Clean your diet up. Get on board with the selenium. And call me back by the end of the week with a report. I will look forward to it. Hey, Mark from Oregon is up. I think he got disconnected earlier. Thanks for calling back, Mark. You are live.
Good afternoon. Yes, I've been using the Healthy Body Bone and Joint Pack for over a year, and have been off the 10 bad foods for multiple years. And in fact, I got rid of the BTT and so on, or particularly the osteo and so on. I got rid of a 12-year-old knee issue for me, and I've got rid of some shoulder and other bone and joint issues. So I'm really happy with that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really great.
Believe me, I agree, and that's why I still use it every day.
I know there's nothing like results, right?
Yeah, I'm in my 50s, and it seems like the youngins, even 20 years old, sometimes have a hard time keeping up with me, especially with a small-day event.
Boy, you got to love that, man. I'm happy for you, man.
I do. About 4 weeks ago, through potentially a couple of different things, I've had a stomach issue. I think originally it started as just a family stress issue where my stomach kind of got all tied up in knots. The very next day, went on a camping trip, and I'm coming back from the camping trip. I had diarrhea for quite a long time, but over a week, just couldn't get rid of it. And finally did the bad stuff, took some Pepto-Bismol, and that seemed to take care of things for a while, but it didn't take care of it permanently or anything else I did either, and that it kind of has still been coming and going in cycles for the last couple, 3 weeks. And so I was wondering what I might be able to do differently or haven't tried or thought of to do to get rid of this.
Well, which came first, man? The emotional upset and the stomach pain, or did the stomach pain start after you got back from the camping trip?
The emotional upset was the day before the camping trip.
And when did the stomach stuff start?
Well, that day and that night. In fact, I didn't sleep very well that night, and then the next day is when I drove to camp.
Okay.
But the diarrhea didn't start until the day coming back from camp, drive back from camp.
Yeah, okay. So was the stuff that was the upset the type of a thing that you like had to bite your lip about and you couldn't really express your true feelings, and then you were mulling over them for like the next 2 or 3 days and thinking about it and running it over in your head? Was it like that, or was it different?
I think, but I can't be certain, that the camping trip was able to get my attention off of the stomach, and so I had good diversions for the next 4 days until literally it was the drive back from camp where my diarrhea first started.
Okay, so there's a homeopathic medicine that you may find useful. It's called Nux Vomica. N like Nancy, U, X like X-ray, second word, V like Victor, O, M like Mary, I, C, A, Nux Vomica. In the 30C strength or the 200C or CK strength. If you find it in the 200C or CK strength, please take 2 pellets twice a day for 3 days of the 200C or 200CK Nux Vomica. If you find it in the 30C strength, please take 2 pellets 4 times a day for 2 days. This is either going to help you or it's not going to help you. Another thing that you can do nutritionally is the root beer belly or the Flora FX, the root beer belly or the Flora FX. Interestingly enough, whenever anybody has any type of a diarrhea episode, you want to look to see whether or not you're hydrated properly, because it's easy to become dehydrated. And interestingly, you would think it would be the reverse. With dehydration making you constipated, but dehydration can also cause diarrhea. So I would start eating an apple a day, and I'm as serious as a heart attack. An apple a day, it keeps the doctor awake. You eat 1 apple a day. Drink a little bit more water than you're already drinking now. Do 2 packets of root beer belly a day, or the Nightly Essence or the Flora FX, 2 of those capsules in the morning, and then 2 of those capsules at night immediately before bed, either of the Nightly Essence or the Flora FX, and the homeopathic Nux Vomica. If the homeopathic is effective, it will be like someone flipped a switch in the next 48 hours, and you'll know it. And if you're still dealing with this stuff on Tuesday, call me back. I'll walk you through a different iteration of the program, but I think this is all you're going to need. Check it out, Mark. I appreciate your trust. Keep up the good work. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish there was more time in the day. There isn't. We're at the end of our rope. I appreciate your hanging out with me. Until we meet again in person, I remain your steadfast advocate for health, Dr. Peter Glidden. Check the website out, drglidden.com, and remember, live long and prosper.